Find everyone's location. Download Saucify.
Took me a while to figure out if I even wanted to do this video or not. But I see I have a lot of new subscribers and even the old ones. And I want to thank y'all so much for subscribing to my channel. I know Nature Boys content is what brought y'all. So real quick, I just want to give a little bit of a introduction as to why I even have Nature Boy content on my channel. I started watching him in 2017, and initially what intrigued me was the fact that he had what I would have referred to as a community, all melanated people working together, you know, growing fruits and vegetables, living out of this American system, which I do refer to as Babylon. And I thought that was just amazing. I have 2 young children myself, and I was just like, wow, that's awesome. And then obviously things happened how they happened. One of the things that drew me, I've never really talked about this, but I actually grew up in West Philly in the Ansar Muslim community that Dr. Malachi Z. York was the head imam of. I was probably about 5 or 6 maybe. I can't really remember because I was very young. It was in the 80s. I'm 41. I was born in 83.
That's the pervert
so
that they supported.
We're talking about late 80s.
Raped all the fucking boys and girls.
And my mother was a nurse at HUP, Hospital University of Pennsylvania in West Philly. And she, I can't really remember everything, but all I know is my mom and dad got into a really bad fight. I was probably about 4. I don't know. But they got into a really bad fight. Her dad didn't want her to join that group, but she joined it anyway to the cult. Took my dad. And then next thing you know, we were living in this Muslim community. And I did not get the chance to see my mother, only for an hour a day, certain days a week. I was in a house with other children. One thing I actually do remember is getting sick throwing up in the bathtub, which I was very embarrassed. But anyway, I do remember it being very uniform as far as like we had to eat together, pray together, learn how to write Arabic together, from right to left. I do remember that. But anywho, so we were in the Muslim community for, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe. I'm not sure.
Her mom found out what the deal was and got him out of there and hightailed out there while they could.
She gave up all her possessions to join the Muslim community, and she became a nurse for the Muslim community. And she was a wife. I believe she was a second wife to one of the brothers. I'm not really sure. Once again, I was a child, so I only know some of those things in hindsight, you know, learning and asking my mother questions and stuff. But she, I don't know, we were there and that was that. And then all of a sudden we weren't there anymore. And she, we stayed with my grandmother. Once we left the community, we went back, stayed with my grandmother.
That's the place to go to get away from the pervert. She didn't want her daughter getting raped.
And she became a nurse for them again and returned to a normal life after that. We left. I think we moved back to West Philly. And I grew up on 43rd and Locust until I was like 11, 12, like 12. But all of that is to say, you know, it had a lasting effect on my mother. I think to this day she deals with certain things, and it affected me as well because I grew up after that. I was exposed to many different religions after that. Jehovah's Witness, evangelical Christians. The crazy thing is, I actually did go to a church out in Willingboro, New Jersey, which was an evangelical church. And there were, you know, casting out demons and all of that. It was all of that. And so I was exposed to a lot of spiritual things at a young age. So it always fed that hunger for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in my life as a child growing up. And once I became an adult, I decided, okay, I'm not going to subscribe to any religion, but I have my own personal relationship with the Most High, the Creator, and I'm good with that. Fast forward, I want to.
Now, what she doesn't know is that the Creator is us, and you are in you. So she don't know that stuff. So she's gonna talk about the camps and stuff, which are also cults. It's a religion.
Say 2011, 2010. I graduated from college, Augusta State, moved back home to Philly, met this cat who was a Hebrew Israelite, but he was from Philly and he was living in Florida, Jacksonville. I had wanted to go to Jacksonville, which was a whole crazy thing. How I even met him, he just so happened to park next to me in the parking lot of Walmart. I get behind him in the line. He drops $1. I tell him. He's like, oh, thanks. So then he stays in his car. I see he's actually parked next to me. He wanted to tell me he appreciated me telling him about the $1, Next thing you know, we cool. We and nothing, you know what I mean? But I'm like, oh, Jacksonville, that's crazy, blase. So we wind up connecting. We wind up moving to Jacksonville. And I wound up joining the Hebrew Israelites for a year. I call it boot camp, spiritual boot camp, because I don't subscribe to the camps. I don't like how they, I'm not going to get into that, but it's just the same with any cult. And all of this is to say, I even watched Sister Wives. R.I.P. to Garrison. That hurt my heart. Garrison is the son of Janelle. I don't know if anybody watches Sister Wives, but Cody is a Mormon who had 4 wives. He has 17 children, and one of them just recently unalived himself. And this is the awareness that needs to be put out there, because unfortunately, polygamy comes with this, fantasy world, and I almost even got caught up in it, being as though I have my children because I wanted that tribe, I wanted that community. And what people have to understand is at the top there are people who have knowledge and are not using it in a righteous way. And I just want to put out there that righteousness. Watch how someone lives their lives.
Exactly.
Get the message, but also watch the messenger. Mm-hmm. Because if that person is not living how they're preaching, which is what the discrepancy was with that relationship with but he wasn't living it. I was living it. I still live it to this day. I try my best to live righteously to this day. No, I don't always wear my head covered, and no, I don't always wear skirts, and but I do dress modestly. I do. I pray a lot, and that's one thing I will say. It does work. Just all I can say is, don't look to any man. Pray to the Most High.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. The fact people that the NAS that's in these groups, the top of the groups, who are sitting up there doing evil and trick y'all to go places and want to go see them. Then they get off of YouTube. Then they want to go have a private sector because they get exposed. Because they get exposed for what's really going on. They're trying to take your babies so they can let this man fuck them. They're trying to recreate what they had before. All the mothers went and told on him, and he had the families threatened. Think about this, y'all. Stop being stupid.
Hispanics and the Native Americans that you are the true Hebrew Israelites, whereas us, the so-called
The
white
true
people,
chosen people,
that
don't
we
use
are
that
the
word
Edoms,
because
according to the
it's
Bible.
devil's children. You're not the devil's children.
I've heard that many of you consider it a beautiful thing seeing some of us, the Edoms, so-called white men, bowing down to you because it is the sign of our demonic rule coming to an end. And therefore I think that it is my duty to show you my respect and my utter humbleness. I am desperate. I'm desperate because I know that the creator of the heavens and the earth hates me. He marked me with the leopard's tail skin, and I know that I deserve to be hated. I know that I'm burdened with terrible atrocities. And
What is leprosy? Pale skin.
terrible sins of my race. I know that I have demonic preponderances myself, demonic inclinations, and that I'm too weak to keep them restrained. I know that hardcore slavery is a righteous punishment for me, and I know that I not only deserve it, that I also need it, that I need to be ruled with an iron rod. I only beg you, please, when I'm your slave, please remember how I humbled myself. Now, when our kingdom still lasts, I am bowing down to you, Hebrew Israelites. I am bowing down to you to the point that my face touches the ground.
The book of Revelations, chapter 3, and verse 9, and it reads, "Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee." All praise to Yahweh and his.
Now, we ain't gonna play to no names. It's all names of the devil, so we ain't doing that, y'all. Don't fall for the hijack. The Hebrew Israelites don't know, so they keep falling for it. Next video.
Dear world, I have been told by many that the releasing of this truth may pose certain challenges in my life. For there are many institutions that this truth will be viewed as disruptive to their system of profit and gains. I want to live a happy and peaceful life, and I pray for longevity. Not just for me, but for our entire species. Know that I would never harm myself nor anyone else for that matter. Nevertheless, my life has to face certain challenges so that this planet can be saved. Please do not let these trials that I may have to face be in vain, and pray for me as I am praying for you. Sincerely, Terrence Deshaun Howard, May 25th, 2019. Just so that it would always be known, I should never walk out there alone or harm myself. So if something happens to me and someone says that he committed and he did, no, I would never ever do that. Know that somebody else did that. And I'm not going to allow that to happen.
What you are about to encounter will challenge and potentially redefine your perception of reality. This journey will shake the very foundations of our understanding of the world. Every belief, every piece of knowledge you hold dear will be scrutinized, questioned, and potentially transformed. As we delve into this profound exploration, a veil will be lifted from your eyes, illuminating truths previously obscured, and you will begin to see the world in a new light. It is with profound respect and deep gratitude that we acknowledge Terrence Howard's monumental contribution to this awakening. The book we're about to engage with is not just a collection of pages or ideas, it is a gateway to a new understanding, a testament to Terrence's dedication to uncovering and sharing the truth. His decision to make this book freely available is a gift of immeasurable value, reflecting his genuine desire to enlighten and empower us all. Terrence Howard has devoted his life to the pursuit of knowledge, to challenging the status quo, and to seeking answers to the fundamental questions that define our existence. His work is an invitation to embark on a journey of discovery, to question the narratives we've been taught, and to open our minds to the infinite possibilities that lie beyond conventional understanding. For making this knowledge accessible to everyone, for striving to awaken humanity to a broader comprehension of our universe, we extend our heartfelt thanks to Terrence. The generosity in sharing his life's work without expecting anything in return is a rare and noble act that deserves our deepest appreciation. Now, before we delve into the groundbreaking insights of Terrence Howard's work, I have to show you what Joe Rogan has to say about this remarkable individual.
Terrence Howard, the guy who interviewed me for Rolling Stone, told me that Terrence Howard is like a legitimate genius. Like, he's like, you talk to the guy is absolutely brilliant.
Maybe figured it all out.
Like, he was using, it wasn't like nonsense talk.
Right.
He was like, oh, this is like shockingly coherent thing to say.
I think it's necessary to understand just how much of a genius this man is, considering what we're about to discover. So please, watch the entire video because we need to grasp this information fully. And if you think it's important, please share the video, give it a like, and comment your thoughts on this. It will help ensure the video doesn't get buried. Let's help promote his work and ideas. This wonderful individual has taken a dangerously brave decision to speak the truth. So at least this we can do. Let's share it. Thank you.
I spent 45 years searching these things out and trying to figure out what the universe really, how it really worked.
We will start by reading a few words from Terrence Howard, left in the book as a cautionary note or guidance for us all. I encourage you not to become frightened, but brace yourselves, because the things being discussed within the pages of this book will shake the very foundation of our understanding of the world. Everything that you think you know about what you know will be called into question. A tidal wave of refreshing truth is being released upon this dark and muddied world. You are about to embark upon a journey into a forbidden subject, one that tackles a question in mathematics that has never been asked publicly. It is a subject considered so taboo that not one paper or book has been written upon this topic in modernity. If the information in this book is heeded, then this species called mankind will have the keys necessary for an eternally sustainable existence. If not, this species will suffer the same fate as the trilobites that crawled across the ocean floor some 500 million years ago. Extinction. Our species will pass away and be remembered only for our ignorance. That is, of course, if our fossils survive long enough for a more advanced race to find them. The truth is that everyone is just afraid of this topic because of the potential consequences associated with disclosing the true value of the number 1. Also, the fears associated with exposing the inconsistencies that govern the current practices of multiplication, division, and how these are applied to science. Unfortunately, every country in the civilized world has their economy rooted in the value that has been placed upon the number 1. And from its valuation, the world calculates interest rates, salaries, tariffs, taxes, etc. All of these calculations are based upon how the number 1 is multiplied and divided. As a result, the world's math makes dollars, but it doesn't make sense.
And I think it's time to start right at the very beginning and walk.
It looks like the Fed has just declared war on Americans again. Because if they force us into a digital dollar, that means no greenbacks for swap meets or garage sales, no tooth fairy or piggy bank.
And I think it's time to start right at the very beginning and walk through this thing. So the question for the Church of Truth, Love, and Consciousness and all those listening, does a dollar times a dollar equal $1? Or does a dollar times a dollar equal $2? I have never seen anywhere in the universe where an action times an action doesn't have a reaction. So now that's why we need to discuss this and examine it and how they came up with this strange number which is illogical because a length times a length has to have an area. So you can't have a 1 times 1 equaling 1 because now what happened to the length times the length? The area is no longer in existence.
Tarrant starts by posing an intriguing question. Money can't be multiplied, or can it? A penny times a penny equals what? Since the penny is no longer based upon the hard asset of gold and is now based upon an imaginary value that is equal to a virtual value of the integers or numbers, then it follows 1 penny times 1 penny equals 1 penny, according to the rules of current mathematics and multiplication. 1 penny times 1 penny equals 2 pennies,
So, let's discuss that. Reason right now, 1 penny times 1 penny equals nothing is because it's backed by nothing. You get that? The dollar plus a dollar equals 0 because the dollar is backed by nothing. Oh, the gold standard you talking about? You want to talk about that? Digital currency, which is really not backed by gold. They say this, but it's not because it's not real. It's digital. If you can't hold it, it's not real. It's digital, right? Although if you hold it, it's not real anyway, but that's another subject. We'll get to that later. They actually told you about that in this little clip. But some of you may have missed it, those who don't think on a higher level that you should have been thinking on. Okay, so if something is not real, how can it be backed by anything? If it's not something you can hold contingent, how is it backed by anything? It's not. In other words, collapse of the time doesn't hurt them, but it hurts you. Because you don't get all the stuff that was Tim's that you invested in it, right? And they keep what you had that you invested in, which is still not tangible. They'll just burn it, get rid of it, melt it down, make bombs and shit, prisons and whatever else. And your butt, go ahead and invest in digital currency, which is for the mark of the beast. Are you guys following anything that he told you so far? And I let that video play for a reason. Or y'all still sleep?
according to the laws of universal mathematics. 1 penny times 1 penny equals 0.0001. According to a calculator, a penny times a penny, 0.01 times 0.01 equals 0.001. Does a penny times a penny equal 1 penny based upon the rules of multiplication? Or does a penny times a penny equal 0.0001 based upon our current decimal system? A value so small that there isn't even a currency circulated for that amount by the U.S. Department of Treasury. All calculations shown here are reasonable forms of multiplication, but which one remains consistent with observed universal phenomena? How would you like your money calculated? A nickel times a nickel equals what? A nickel is equivalent to 5 pennies. Then a nickel times a nickel should also equal a quarter. A nickel times a nickel, according to the calculator, is 0.05 times 0.05 equals 0.0025. Again, a value so small that there is not a currency circulated to represent it. How would you like your money calculated? A dime times a dime equals what? A dime is equivalent to 10 pennies. A dime times a dime should be equivalent to 10 pennies times 10 pennies. 10 pennies times 10 pennies is equivalent to 100 pennies, which is equal to $1. But a dime times a dime equals a penny according to a calculator. 0.10 times 0.10 equals 0.01. How would you like your money calculated? What is a quarter times a quarter? A quarter is equal to 25 pennies. Therefore, a quarter times a quarter equals 25 pennies times 25 pennies, which equals 625 pennies, which is...
Pause. You see that at the very top, those pennies with the quarter middle on both sides making a wing type shape. That is what they are depicting of New Barrel. He has to tell you things without saying it, but keep going.
6.25 US dollars. Yet a quarter times a quarter, according to the calculator, is 0.0625. 0.25 times 0.25 equals 0.0625. How would you like your money calculated?
Allow me to enlighten you. If 4 over 2 is the inverse operation of 2 times 2 equaling 4, then it would naturally follow that 2 divided by 1, or 2 over 1, is the inverse operation of 1 times 1 equaling 2. So let's talk about this. What does your common sense tell you about these two scenarios? What do they have in common, and what are their differences? Division. The number 4 is divided by 2 twice. And the truth is, the number 2 is divided by 1 twice. The proof of that, if you had $2 and split it between 2 people, you would have to give each person $1 in order for it to be even. In addition, 2 plus 2 equals 4, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. Subtraction, 4 minus 2 equals 2, and 2 minus 1 equals 1. Multiplication, 2 times 2 equals 4, and 1 times 1 equals 1. Does that make sense to anybody there? Does that seem like it's following any similar line of congruency? I mean, can you see where the mistake has occurred? Both of these scenarios are identical in every way. The only difference exists in dimension alone. If they add, subtract, and divide according to the same ratio, then they must also multiply according to the same ratio, plain and simple. If 2 over 1 is inconsistent with 1 times 1 equaling 1, although 4 over 2 is consistent with 2 times 2 equaling 4, then it should follow that 2 squared equals 4, which it does, and 1 squared equals 2. Yet the math and scientific community tells us that common sense and logic are wrong in this case because of a product of an arbitrary convention called the identity property. Let's discuss.
In mathematics, an identity element or neutral element is a special element such as 0 in the set of all integers under addition or 1 in the set of positive integers under multiplication, with a special set of powers that enables it the ability to defy the laws of physics on 2 of its primary founding assumptions. First of all, concerning the number 1. In the case of 1 times itself, or any other number or variable, the end product is that same number or variable, and that any number multiplied by a 0 equals a 0. As a result of this arbitrary rule, we are left with 2 false statements, 2 unnatural scenarios that makes it necessary for the fundamental laws of physics concerning action and necessary reaction, and the laws concerning the conservation of energy to be suspended in order for this identity rule to exist. 1 times 1 equaling 1 is paramount to an action times action without a reaction. In mathematics, an identity element or neutral element is a special type of element of a set with respect to a binary operation on that set, which leaves other elements unchanged when combined with them. Like a ghost or a shadowy influence upon nothing at all, yet it alters the natural course of any number it supposedly encounters. Therefore, in the case of 1, it is left without a mate, an equal and oppositely balanced condition because it remains unchanged when other ones are combined or attempt to simply multiply. A state of existence that is impossible in this universe of equilibrium. Because the rule of nature is to first divide accumulated matter by the process of radiation and expansion, which is the work of magnetism, and then to multiply that which has been divided through the process of centripetal gravitative contraction, which is the office of electricity. Secondly, on the identity of zero in multiplication, any number multiplied by zero will become a zero product. First thing, in order to multiply something by something else, they must be dimensionally equal. Then how do you make something dimensionally equal to nothing? The laws of conservation of energy might as well pack up and move away, because how can a something multiplied by nothing cause the something to disappear? Remember, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Yet, in the case of multiplication, a process by which all things continue to exist and propagate their existence, zero behaves as a black hole of the number system that gobbles down anything that comes near it. A concept that doesn't exist except in outdated science fiction novels. How in the world have these two false statements been positioned as the unquestionable God rules of mathematics for the last 6,000 years? How deeply has this lie been interwoven into the very DNA of our approach to mathematics? A false axiom presented by an individual whose thoughts and ideologies have crafted our misinterpretation of the universe, which makes that person possibly the most influential person throughout all of history. We will now allow nature and the testimony of universal phenomenon to answer these questions as we put this concept of the identity element to the test, with 1 times 1 equaling 1 and the future of mathematics weighing in the balance.
God doesn't care if you're mad and angry. He wants you to talk to him either way. I'm struggling to have a baby. I'm struggling to...
weighing in the balance. But we were taught around this very impressionable time that Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny were also real. Yet, over the next few years, we ultimately came to terms with the fact that our chimneys were far too narrow for a jolly old fellow to climb down. The assertion that 1 times 1 equals 1 was implanted in our minds at a young, impressionable age, a time when questioning the accuracy of what we're taught isn't typical. As adults, however, our beliefs need to be grounded in strong, convincing arguments backed by natural phenomena, concrete evidence, and irrefutable facts. Every adult holds...
So we're going to speed this up. You're responsible for your ideas, and the ideas you spread into the world. And these guys came with ideas instead of going by one. That would be the mathematical G law. You know, I'm not using the word because it's pagan. That would be the law that we would go by, right? He switched it at the zero. You see, and that's why the demons were having that 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0. They zero everything out to make it less than a 1. So therefore, it has no value to make anything or have anything go further. Just like you're going to find out their DNA, which is just going to start happening to them too soon, because they have to revert back to... Everything goes back to what it was, man, from the beginning. Now listen, except we're going to go back to what we were doing before they came, which was leveling up, vibrating on a higher level. You know, being those light beings that don't need food or water, and we just live off the sun like we're supposed to. Okay? So, we're going to speed the video up just to... Don't go too far.
They assert that the use of mathematics is more of a tool for measurement and not the measurement itself. The assertion is that the term singularity is not a literal term, but more of a concept and cannot be viewed as a quantity. To be perfectly honest, the entire notion of a singularity where all matter collapses upon itself and all the laws of physics breaks down is inconsistent with natural phenomena and lives more in the realm of science fiction than reality. Yet, many within the field of astrophysics firmly ascribe to this imaginative mathematical impossibility. What is this thing called one, and how can it or the concept of it be shrouded in so much mystery and controversy? The number one actually has the same foundational and patriarchal
That one is
relationship
you.
with
That one
all
is
other
us.
numbers
That
that are
one's the
descended
ether.
from
And
it.
that's what they
Just
trying to
as the
figure out.
element hydrogen has
The
with
devil
all other
stole that
elements that
name
occur
too.
after it, it just so happens to be the
Stole the
most
name.
abundant
Trying to
element within
masquerade
the
as
known
you.
universe.
The
In
we.
view of this
The ether.
relationship, let's compare our number sequence to the periodic table and the elements that make it up. In his insightful discussion on the periodic table of elements, Terence Howard delves into the foundational similarities between the structure of the universe and our mathematical systems. He begins with a profound statement. In our number system, all the numbers have something in common. Every number following the number 1 is a product of the number 1. This assertion sets the stage for a compelling analogy between the simplicity and complexity of the universe's building blocks and the fundamental principles of mathematics. Look at what Terence says here about the human body and cells as an analogy for understanding complex systems from simple origins. This perspective is crucial because it encapsulates the essence of how complex forms emerge from simple beginnings. Just as the human body, a complex organism, is composed of trillions of cells, each serving different functions, yet originating from a common cellular structure. The universe's elements share a similar pattern of complexity from simplicity. Terence takes us further into the atomic level, explaining that atoms, the basic units of chemical elements, consist of protons, electrons, and neutrons. He highlights a crucial point. Every single element within the visible universe has a common ancestry with the element hydrogen. This statement is pivotal because it echoes his earlier point about the number 1's role in mathematics. Just as all numbers derive from 1, all elements can trace their lineage back to hydrogen, the simplest element. The periodic table, Terence explains, is not just a static chart of elements, but a dynamic predictor of atomic structures based on conditions such as motion and pressure. He uses the formation of ice as a metaphor to elucidate how conditions affect the state of matter, much like how environmental factors determine the state and behavior of elements like hydrogen. Terence's exploration of hydrogen's behavior under various conditions across the solar system serves as a masterclass in the adaptability and transformation of elements. He says, under the limited influence of lower pressures from the sun in a more vacuous environment, hydrogen atoms expand and become more tenuous in their configurations. This adaptability is a testament to the universal principle of change based on environmental conditions, a principle that applies.
Boom. Just like I was saying. Hold on now. Don't play games. Let's get this on. Just like I was saying, buddy. Just like I was saying. The sun's about to wipe these folks out. Because change has come and the sun is doing his job.
Maybe you had a misfortune that you didn't get miseducated as they made me, where I had to turn around and relearn everything that they taught me the wrong way in order to go the right way. The pituitary gland, they say, is your master gland. It controls all the functions in your body. I say nothing could be further from the truth. Your minor gland would be your pituitary gland. Your basic gland is your pineal gland. Some people call it pineal. I understand it's pine cone shape called pineal gland. The pineal gland is the gland that produces melanin. And wherever you have melanin in your body, you're going to function differently than a person with little or none. And the grade of your melanin will help you to do things that other people can't. And when you're beginning to function with your melanin, then you can begin to adapt to magnetic fields. Here it's broken down. I'm giving it to you a different way now. Magnetic fields, electrical fields, and orgone fields. Without that, you cannot adapt to all three. You may adapt to one, the lowest of all, electrical fields. Our problem here nowadays is elves. And I'm not talking about the one in the hollow earth. I'm not talking about the one in the fairy tales, because elves, not elves, are killing you. ELF is extra low frequency, which is electrical propagations, electrical energy. That is what short circuits you. That's what's causing you to AIDS. That's what's causing your cells to AIDS. That is our biggest problem here. And they're building up more and more towers everywhere. And the more towers go up, the more it's going to short circuit anybody with the active pineal gland, and it's only going to be melanated people that can get through this. And even they now are being attacked with the shots and AIDS and all these other things, which we will also get into too. Setting the stage for.
Now, they know that we raising the vibration up to get rid of him. He just explains you that the sun is going to wipe anybody out. And it's going to wipe a lot of people out if you ain't got enough melanin. This is exactly why I told everybody. And this is exactly why there's a lot of books that tell you in certain spots, don't mix. You tell people not to mix. And this is why. You're going to need a lot of melanin. Pure melanin. A whole lot of it. Some folks are going to survive some phases. Like, let's go right now. But let's go is a problem for us, right? But they're about to be, that's why we're going to shut that down. We're shutting it all down. The sun's going to shut it down. We're shutting it all down. We're doing it. We're the ones causing this. So, boom. When that goes out, now the other energy comes, which is about to start coming real soon. It has already started, but it's going to come a lot faster and a lot harder. And then all the rest of the energy is going to come. There's like 4 or 5 certain phases, probably 7 phases, right? Of energy that's going to occur. People that don't have enough melanin are going to die off in the 2nd, 3rd to 4th phase. The folks who have enough melanin will survive it and will live through the 6th and 7th phase of the new beginning of that energy to become what we actually are. We already are what we yes, the DEA is evolving, as they like to say. It's just being activated. But y'all gonna see.
Some obviously broad coverage that we're going to do. There was an anatomy book and a physiology book, both that stated something along this line, to paraphrase it, that the pineal gland is an atrophied gland of very little usage and really not even necessary to discuss. That meant that the biggest, strongest, most powerful gland in an operating body that we're now in is of very little usage and
The child played me. Hold on, pause.
very little usage, and in many cases it is because it calcifies. And it calcifies anytime you expose it to drugs. I didn't say to herbals. Anytime you expose it to allopathic, pharmaceutical drugs, you're killing and causing a war with your pineal gland. When you use homeopathic and nutraceutical products, herbs, leaves, roots, things that are natural, things that contain sunlight, now it begins to amplify and work correctly. It is the gland that lets you tan, the gland that lets you blacken, the gland that gives you your psychic ability, the gland that produces serotonin by which you can get calm under situations, can sleep at night without taking other drugs. It is a master gland that when something goes wrong in your body, it chemically organizes it, analyzes it, and then sends a direction to the pituitary gland to start mass producing all these various hormones from the various things that we do. It does not like synthetic. I will repeat that once more. It does not like synthetic anything. Synthetic things are made in a laboratory to act like what would be a natural thing. If you are a natural person, you cannot use synthetic things without an aberration, a problem, something else happening within that system. And many things are happening within our systems now that are wrong. Very bad. We have genetically modified foods everywhere. We have water that is full of fluorine, chlorine, and 38 different kind of things in most of the places. And in fact, if you're coming, unfortunately, again, from the Ohio area, it has more than the rest of it. And even in Chicago, where I come from, supposedly has one of the best filtration plants around, they're still putting 38 different chemicals in to try to kill off bacteria. You have depleted uranium being given to soldiers, sailors, Marines, armed forces personnel over there fighting in the Iraq, Middle East, which, by the way, is innocuous because the Middle East is where ancient Mesopotamia 1 was, where Sumer was, and here you have the brethren who are supposed to be coming over there to start unlocking time locks, to come over there to get in tune with the planet, over there killing each other, blowing each other up, being bitten by crabs and the desert crabs and stuff, being given 34 shots before they can return, taking them out of the picture forever, messing with their reproductive organs, their brains, over there fighting a war that is not even existing because of a population who's trying to eliminate them, and they don't get the picture. What you understand is the irony of what's happening on this planet this time is almost insane. In fact, as the brothers say, Brother Ludicrous, it's not only insane, it's ludicrous. It's past belief on what is happening now to the young people's minds, the old people's minds, and the minds of those who are supposed to be awakening, trying to put it back into a deep coma.
Boom.
Wake up to getting at peace with our spirit, because this physical world is going down. It has to. In order for the spirit, since they're opposites, they can't occupy the same space at the same time. One has to give way to the other. And since we're moving into a spiritual time, that means we have to, there's going to be a breakdown or a degradation of the physical world, at least until it comes into balance, you see. So that's what we have. That's the part of what the Matrix is talking about, unplugging. You see, in other words, coming out of the limitations and the restrictions that someone has imposed upon you, you see, through emotional manipulation, you see, and through your own personal, going after your own personal gratification. See, if we stay on a personal level, then we'll continue just to struggle on that level, you see, and we'll stay plugged into the matrix, you see. It's not until we get at peace and in harmony with our spirit, and we know our spirit is going to give us the guidance as this chaotic time unfolds, because it is going to be chaotic. But if you're in harmony with your spirit, you fear nothing, you see. You understand that this energy that is breaking down is only breaking down for a new beginning. That's what transformation is, the death of the old, so there can be a rebirth of the new at a higher level. We want the apocalypse because we want the end of this, because it's not until this is moved out of the way that the new can open up at a higher level, the new that we will be ruling, you see. Because we're going to be ruling under the laws of the universe, which are guided by the principles of righteousness. And if we're only coming in to rule, to reverse things, and take an unrighteous world and bring it into its righteousness. You see. There's no fixing this. There's no patching it up. We got to let it fall down. And the more that we let go of our own personal habits and all our personal desires and attachments to the physical, you see, and open up to the empowerment of our spirit, which comes from within us, you see, then is when we can come to our fullness, reverse our rotation, and then become in harmony with the universal forces and activate the fulfillment. And only we can do that, because we're the only physical beings with the spiritual capability, of bringing that spirit. And
What did she just tell you? If and all that was all correct? Only we gonna save us. Nobody coming to save us. Nobody in the physical realm. There's nobody can come out from the spiritual realm to the physical realm to save us unless they come through a woman. And no one man's gonna save us. We have to save ourselves correctly by waking up, all the way up, understanding that we can't go against ourselves. We're not gonna go against the laws of ourselves, bro. This is not how it works. And I ain't talking about the demonic laws and all that bullshit, feast days and all that bullshit, because those are not our laws. Y'all gotta wake up, bro. It's deeper than that. We save ourselves. Stop looking for a sky daddy to save you. Stop looking for anybody, any outside help. Look within, from within. It's all within. When we all clearly look from within, it all comes together because we are one. The problem is everybody's looking outside every place else, but from inside, and everything that you are hearing about, learn about, are in you. Come on, y'all.
Physical together. God only means wholeness, you see. And that's when we come to our wholeness, we come to our Godhood, you see. And we have a responsibility to do that so that we can heal the earth, you know, and balance the universe. This is a universal thing going on.
You see the picture of that? What they just did was took a fake brain, they attached it to a certain body part of an animal that they cut to pieces, and it's not a real animal, it's a synthetic animal. And they attach another body part to the body part. And look at it's breathing. They put a limb on it. It's moving. Look at this. Look. They're about to have fake humans walking around. We already got humans walking around. It's made by the devil. Now we got fake humans gonna be walking around. Look at this. Look at this shit. Come on, man. Wake up.
Jews of Ethiopia. And that's going to be the topic tonight. It's going to talk about the Black history of the Jewry, where they came from, how they spread around the world, and some of my own theories as well based on my research. And this is going to be a very educational video. I'm not going to go off on any emotional tangents or anything like that. I'm just going to give you guys the facts. And then you take those facts and you meditate on them and you run with them and you research them and do whatever you do with them. Spread that information around. Because, you know, throughout my...
Now I'm going to show you this to show you this. The fact that in the books that this man texts that they made sure that they had the stuff in there. The fact that we don't need them and all that stuff. That we actually listen, please, we're better than them. That we are. Right? And we're not made. We're better than them. And they admitted to this stuff. Right? Now now the problem is that a lot of people don't realize that, despite what them books say. They don't read those books. So a lot of our people all over the world are still worshiping the same names as these camps are worshiping. And whose deity is that? It ain't yours. It's those fake ones. The devil. That's who y'all worshiping. And you are your highest self. That's what you're trying to reach. But you're casting spells when you pray. That's what you're actually doing.
Research, what I found...
Watch and pray.
...was that a lot of people don't even know that Black Jews exist. And so it's time to bring forward the information about the ancestry of Black Jews and how far back does it go. And how come they've been forbidden? How come they've been separated and cut off? So we're going to talk about that tonight, all right? It's going to be a great, great night. Looking forward to it. I'm going to use a PowerPoint tonight. And the reason why I'm going to use a PowerPoint is not because I don't know my facts, it's because I want to make sure that these platforms see my facts.
You only want to talk about one specific group of them.
Because
you can't talk about all of them as a whole.
You see, the problem with a lot of people that start talking about these topics in Hollywood and in sports and in everything else, athletes, they don't know how to articulate themselves. And there's nothing against them. I love them. But the problem that they have when they run into these situations, music artists, you know who I'm talking about, they don't know how to articulate themselves, and they don't know how to come with the receipts. Well, I'm going to be their ambassador tonight because I'm coming with the receipts. And when I put the receipts down, nobody can take down what I've said. And I'm not going to be apologizing to anyone because I'm not going to insult anyone. I'm going to educate people. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to educate. All right. So that's what we're doing tonight. All right. So let's take a look at what we're talking about. Now, first and foremost, we're talking about black people. Black people have been on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years, if not millions. If you look into the history of this planet, you'll find that you'll dig up the bodies of black people everywhere on every single continent. Every single continent. When you go deep into the real ancient texts, I'm talking about super deep antiquity, you discover that black people were trading from Africa all the way as far as Mexico. We call it Mexico now, but back then it was Mesoamerica, right? Trading with the Mayans.
Also
even
in America.
marrying with some of the Mayans, and then, establishing a whole other culture in that area. Those were the Teotihuacans. That's a whole other video I'm going to talk about, talking about the Olmecs. And then you look into Asia, Eurasia, Malaysia, Melanesia, China, Japan. I don't care where you go on this planet, you're going to find out we were there. So it's pretty interesting. And yes, slavery did exist. Some people don't think slavery did exist. People were sold as slaves. There was a huge slave trade going on, for a very long time.
From America.
However,
to other places.
Not all of the people that were already in some of those lands were brought here via a boat. There were people here, people there, people in other places, people in the Caribbean, all over the place. So the concept in the mind that all black people originate in Africa and then were taken out of Africa on slave ships is a huge misconception.
Yeah, okay? Most of us got a slave where we were.
The most advanced civilization was in the land of Chem long before that area was called Egypt. Egypt is a new name. It's a brand new name. We just arrived here. The land of Chem, where we get chemistry and alchemy from, and chemetics. That comes from the land of Chem. And the original inhabitants of the land of Chem were the Dogon tribe. And the Dogons now, who are in Mali, Africa, they moved in, or they literally migrated up to Mali after a coup or takeover. An outside nation came in, saw that, hey, these Egyptians, man, these people are living over here, these Kemetic people are living over here with no police, no military. They're loving life. They're in a golden age. Everything is beautiful. They're doing arts and crafts and singing and dancing and studying and researching the stars. And so somebody came and saw that, and the only weakness that we had was that we were at peace and one with nature and with each other, and they took us over. Egypt has been overthrown 7 times. So for the people that are always, saying, Egypt was always black. Actually, Egypt was not always black. It was not. I'm going to say that again. Egypt was not always black. Egypt was always not in the golden age. You have to understand that as well. There have been some brutal rulers come through the land of Chem, up through the land of Egypt, which is what it's called right now, up into our modern day. So the dynastic era had some real tyrants that ruled for periods of time. And it changed hands quite a few times along the way. But that's a whole other topic, a whole other podcast. But the point I'm making here is the original inhabitants of the land of Chem, pre-dynastic dynasty, pre-dynastic Egypt, were the Dogon tribe. All right, pretty interesting stuff.